possible to make contact with an alien? Is it possible for an extraterrestrial to have a relationship with you? And if this happened to you, what is it that you would want to know? What questions would you ask? And could this extraterrestrial possibly become your friend? Welcome to Creative Visions TV, and I'm your host, Karen Dahlman. And today, my guest that you're going to meet here in a few minutes has done just that. Let me tell you about my guest. His name is Barry Strohm. He was born near Hershey, Pennsylvania, but his wife, Connie, and him now are residents of Park City, Utah. And get this, guys, they've been married for 52 years. 5'2", huge. Barry is very, very well educated. He has a civil engineering license, also a degree in business management from Lehigh University. Now, what's really interesting about Barry, and when you hear what he's going to talk to you about today, he was a skeptic. He was a non-believer. He did not believe spirits existed. He didn't think you could communicate with other beings, dead or alive. He didn't believe in any of this. But all of a sudden, his life changed, and we're going to find out what happened to make his life change. Now, what's really cool about Barry, too, Barry and his wife own a haunted place, and it's called the Golden Lane Antique and Art Gallery in Pennsylvania. And guys, it's for sale. So we can hook you up, and it's haunted, like I said. And right now I'm interviewing him, and he told me that the ghost, the little girl that's there in that building, is there right now. And I said hello to her. So there's some cool stuff we're going to get into today. Also, Barry has a wonderful website called spiritspredict.com, and I'll put the link down below. And he's written quite a few books, you guys. This is really fascinating. He wrote a book called Haunting and History of the Battle of Gettysburg. He wrote The Afterlife, which is the book I have. He wrote Aliens Among Us, and he also wrote his last book that just came out called Spirit Speaks of Conspiracies and Mysteries. Now, what's really cool, Barry's coming on today to talk to us about his most recent book that just went to the publishers. It'll be out in 2018, and we're going to have him talk to us all about it. And this book is about his relationship with his alien friend. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to Barry Strohm. Hey, Barry.
Hey, happy to be here.
Well, I'm so glad.
In California.
Oh, California's lovely today, and I know you're 3 hours later. He's on the East Coast, guys, and I'm in California. But it's so wonderful to have Barry here. Now, Barry, did you know that today is actually the 2-year anniversary of us meeting?
No.
Where did we meet, Barry? Tell them where we met.
We met at the WouijaCon convention in Baltimore.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, and that is one of the first time. That's the first time that we ever channeled cross country with animals. Was with you.
You tell them a story, you guys. I don't know if I brought this up to my viewers before, but you're going to love this story. Barry, share it, please.
Well, we were at the convention and we had our channeling board set up, and obviously you all know that Karen is a big time board channeler. So she comes over and asks if it'd be okay if we channel together. And I said, absolutely, I'd love to do it. And I told her that we had been doing some animal communication work on the board. So she says, well, do you think I could contact my pets out in California? And I said, well, I don't see any reason not to. So anyway, she starts and we asked for the presents, and in comes her pet cat. And she asks what color it is. We try to verify everything we do, obviously. Uh-huh. And she says, the answer comes back white, which it's a white cat. And she asks what the name is, and the cat spells its name out. And then as you all know how bubbly little Miss Karen is, she says to her cat, now bear in mind the cat's 3,000 miles away at this point.
That's right. He's back in California being taken care of by my pet keeper.
That's correct. So she says, is there anything Mommy can bring back for you? And the board spells out a girl.
No, what I must jump in here and tell you, Bear at that time was only a little over about a year old, and he was going in second year. He was starting to get into puberty. Although he's been fixed, he really was kind of amorous. So he had started doing that unbeknownst to Barry. And so when Bear came through, he wanted me to bring home a little girl to him. So Barry, you're going to love this, and I'll tell my audience here too. I brought home, I didn't bring it home from there, but I went to the store and bought him a giant stuffed frog. frog. And right now, you'll see the image right here of the giant stuffed frog, and he loves his frog. So we took care of his needs, Barry.
Yeah, well, I figured you were just going to be pimping for your pet cat. So.
Well, Bear's a lovely cat, and I believe you've all seen him. Oh, maybe you haven't seen him on the show, so I'll show you a picture of him. So anyway, Barry, let's talk about what made you into a believer. I mean, you did never believe this for most of the years of your life. What changed?
Well, for 60 years of my life, I was in the construction industry, trucking, all the sorts of things where you don't run into ghosts. I used to make fun of people that believed in spirits. And then about 25 years ago, I bought this building, and we converted it into an antique gallery. Well, the building dates back to 1877, and it was a shoe factory. And little did I know that this thing was one of the most haunted buildings you could never put a foot into. And we actually have a portal downstairs, and we literally have hundreds of ghosts in this building that we talk to at different times now that we know how to do it. But I started spending time here and all my employees are telling me, all this stuff is going on. And I'm going, yeah, right. And marijuana is legal out west, but not here. So anyway, I decided I'm going to have a professional team come in and do an investigation. So we break up. There's like 20 of them come in, and we go in different places in the building. And I'm teamed up with a psychic. My wife Connie's with me, and 2 other people. And we're back into this far corner. As a matter of fact, right about where we're sitting doing the show from. And the psychic said, I'm starting to read a little girl. And the little girl she's singing, and she's saying to us that, she would like to show us this pink doll. And I'm going, yeah, right, a pink doll, and the ghost's going to lead us to it. So I have a K2 meter in my hand, which I didn't even know what it was. And I'd watched a couple shows on TV. So I said, well, okay, if you're here, can you make this thing blink? And all of a sudden, the damn meter starts blinking in my hand. I'm going, it's kind of weird. And the medium says, well, the little girl just said that her name is Clarissa. Mm-hmm. I said, okay. I said, Clarissa, can you make it blink once for yes and twice for no? And it blinks once, meaning yes. I'm thinking, now this is really getting freaking weird, especially since ghosts don't exist.
So you thought.
So I thought. So I said, okay, Clarissa, how'd you like to show us your doll? Blinks once for yes. I said, okay. So we get up in the dark and we start moving through the aisles here in the store. Come to the first aisle. And I said, Clarissa, should we turn here? And it blinks twice for no. Keep going straight. Come to the second aisle. Okay, Clarissa, should we turn here? Blinks twice. So we don't. We go straight. Come to the third aisle. I said, okay, how about here? Blinks once. Okay. So we turn left and we start down the aisle. And all of a sudden, we just lose her. Medium can't pick her up. The K2's done. I thought, well, that was pretty cool. So I almost believed now, right? It's about a half an hour later. We're taking a break. And I'm coming back. I'm turning on lights so everybody doesn't kill themselves in here. Coming back from the other direction. And I'm approaching the area where we've lost contact. And I look up, and the case right where we lost contact is this pink doll.
Yes. Wow. Amazing story.
She had taken us 150 feet, made 3 turns, and led us right to that pink doll.
Did you believe at that moment, or did it still take you some time to ingest and think about that?
I'm a slow learner at times,
okay.
But I thought, holy crap,
Well, you have an engineering
really
mind. When you do engineering, you tend to think more left brain. This is more of a right brain phenomenon. So you really had to kind of, how does this fit in my world, right? How does this work?
I had a hard time. And then a picture was taken during the investigation. It was like one of the best apparition photos I've ever seen. We have a guy standing in a mirror, and there's a female ghost standing behind him. And it was so real, we tried to figure out which one of the team members was in the picture.
Was faking this, yeah.
Yeah, so we saw
incredible.
There were 2 happenings there. There were absolutely nothing you could explain except supernatural existence.
And you guys, you can go visit this place, by the way, in Pennsylvania. So you look him up on his website. Now, Barry, this brings us to now. So you became a believer, but how did you start communicating with these beings?
It's a long story. I started really doing photography. We're about 8 miles from the Gettysburg battlefield.
Right.
So I started going out and taking pictures and getting incredible photographs on the battlefield. My friend said, well, you ought to write a book. So I thought, well, what the hell will write a book? So that was how the first book, Haunting in History of the Battle of Gettysburg, came to be.
Because of your photographs. So you were starting to get images, and you were starting to go, there's something to this. Something's going on here.
Yes, I'm starting to get these incredible photographs.
And I've seen this book, you guys. I've seen some of the pictures. It's pretty impressive. But Barry, you started using a tool that we all love here on this channel. And I want you to tell us about that tool. But most importantly, I want you to tell us how that came about, and this is going to get us into our topic today of aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, while I'm taking pictures back here in Gettysburg, our home is out in Park City, and Connie is out spending time out west, and she makes friends with this woman out there. Actually, they're on jury duty together, and they become friends. And after a couple years, Connie says, man, you won't believe what Barry's up to. I'm half afraid to tell you. He's starting to take pictures of ghosts. And the woman she's become friendly with says, well, then I guess you won't mind me telling you that my family's been talking to spirits for 30 years. Yeah. I went, okay.
Top that one, Barry.
Yeah, really. So, I mean, this thing was all arranged. We're going to meet these people. And here, these people have been doing board channeling out in the Salt Lake City area.
Now, when he says board channeling, you guys were talking like a spirit board, talking board, Ouija board, okay? So here we go. Yes,
they had designed a round board, letters and numbers in a circle, messages, hello, goodbye, all that stuff. So I'm out in Salt Lake, and they invite me to attend a session. And I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. I sit down, and they start out, and the first message is, hello, Barry, how are you? On the board, and I went, holy crap.
They know who I am. They've got your number and your name.
Not only did they know who I was, they started telling me about all the stuff that was taking place back in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
They were telling me about things about the ghosts, some of the pictures I was taking, what they were doing, and I'm going, there's no way anybody can know this crap. So anyway, I say, can you guys teach me how to do this? And well, as it turns out, that was the whole idea the guides had behind it, was for us to learn board channeling to bring it back. So I started working with them out in Salt Lake. Connie started working with them. We actually let the spirits design our own channeling board. The board, we had them give us a prayer of protection. And she and I mean, we're well over 400 hours of channeling on this board now.
You guys, this board is beautiful. I'll show you a picture of it. It is a glass board, and he has this, was it crystal poured planchette kind of
Yes,
glass?
I used a hot poured quartz beaker.
It's beautiful, you guys, and it's so smooth, and I got to use it with him, and we have a picture of that as well, you'll see right here. And it's an incredible, beautiful board. And it doesn't look like a typical Ouija board. What do you call it? What's the name of your board?
We just call it a channeling board.
Channeling board, okay.
Or talking board. Anything works. It's just...
Anything works, and that's what we talk about on this channel. You can use anything, you guys. Remember paper sacks, paper boards, cardboard, glass, as Barry uses glass. So, Barry, when did your friend, your alien friend, enter the picture? And tell us about that.
Okay, well, I wrote Afterlife, and we got that. Publisher liked it, and they brought that out. And we're doing channeling sessions and all, and I'm always curious about aliens. I didn't think anything believes. So one night I'm with a normal guide, and I said to him, I said, do aliens exist? And the guide comes back and says, would you believe yes? And I went, well, maybe, So we start asking these questions with our ordinary guides. One night we're doing a session, and one of our guides says, we're going to introduce you to another spirit that will help you in this matter. He knows a lot more than we do because he is one.
Here we go, guys.
Yes. And I said, is one what? And he said, well, he's a deceased alien. He's an alien spirit.
It's amazing.
I said, wait a minute. So you're telling me that alien souls and human souls all go to the same heaven? Because that's the only way, we're communicating with human souls. And the guy comes back and says, yes, we're all the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. The soul energy's been immortal, been around forever, and humans have only been here for 200,000 years. So where do you think your soul energy was before humans were on Earth? Well, the answer to that is you were on other planets. And when you were on the other planet, a human would have looked like an alien to you. So
are you saying we could also be, in our past lives, we were on other planets and we could also be aliens? What we would call extraterrestrials?
As a matter of fact, Mu is a blue alien.
Oh my gosh.
He informed me that I had spent lifetimes on his planet.
As
and then I find out that Mu's even a member of our soul family.
So you've also been a member of his species, his type of, what do you guys call them? Beings?
Yeah, well, they're beings. They're just the same as we are.
Okay.
The only place humans exist is on Earth.
Why don't you explain what he looks like? Because he's very unique.
You could say that. You could say that. Mu now looks like the rest of us because he's a spirit. But when he was in body,
yes,
he stood about 9.5 foot tall. He passed in our time in 1987, and his age in our years was 942 years old.
Wow.
So they lived there. He said their average lifespan is about 950 of our years. I also went on to say that humans have one of the shortest lifespans in the universe, and that we are more sickly than almost anybody else in the universe.
Did he say why that is, that our span is so much shorter than theirs?
Because I think the real reason is that we can create enough havoc being a young society in our short lifetimes, and they want to give the souls a chance to reincarnate and come in and experience human life.
I see. So what did Mu die of? What was the cause of his death?
Natural causes. They actually program their deaths around 9:50.
Okay, so it's time to go. Tune, I'm out.
Yeah, basically. And they have a very small population on their planet.
Okay,
so.
I was going to ask you about that. If it's that many, like for us, 7 billion people, I mean, where do you fit them all? So I'm wondering, it's a lot less souls that are incarnating there?
His planet is named Robe, R-O-B-B-E.
Okay.
It's on the far wing of the Milky Way. And his planet is about the size of Jupiter.
Oh.
So it's a gigantic planet.
Good size.
Yes. His planet has 2 suns, where we have a single sun. And
right.
he's got like 6 or 7 moons on the planet.
Interesting. Now, this brings up an interesting point. I know your new book talks a lot about this detail, and I remember one thing in your book. It says you're talking about our moon and what is truly what our moon is. And since you're talking about his moons, I want to know, what are their moons and what is our moon? What is it truly?
Well, our moon is actually hollow.
Okay.
There is an entrance on the back, and I think that our own astronauts have actually seen that when they orbited the moon. And when they ran the test, they crashed a satellite into the moon, and it actually rang like a bell.
I've heard this before.
Have you heard this? They had seismic on it, and the thing vibrates for like 2 minutes after it hits. So there's a lot going on up on our moon.
What about his moons, where he is from? Are they satellites? Are they real? What are they, man-made or human-made?
No, they're real. They're real.
Okay.
And our moon is also real. It was created about the same time as Earth.
It just has a peculiar ringing to it, which sounds the hollowness of it, right?
Well, apparently we have other hollow planets.
And now, are you learning this from Mu? Is Mu telling you this as a deceased? He's talking to you guys. He's talking to the soul of this extraterrestrial who is deceased. So, Mu's telling you this? Okay.
Mu, in this new book, the one that's headed for, I have a chapter on our own solar system, and I go through and I ask him questions about every one of our planets, what the history was of that planet. We talk about the moons on the planet, what aliens have done there in the past, what future plans are. But it's a really interesting chapter on our own solar system. And I think everybody's going to be surprised with what's going on out there.
I can't wait to dive into this book, you guys. It's going to be so good. So tell us, give us a secret. Give us a secret from your books. Give us some kind of jewel that tells us something that's going on, like about contact or disclosure.
Oh, well, they're all around us. I'll give you one that's going to be really hard for you to get over.
We're ready for it.
Okay, seat belt up. There are over 200 types of space vehicles. Space vehicles range from the size of a baseball to one that is the size of the United States.
And these are not our vehicles, Secret Space Program. This belongs to other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a committee that governs our galaxy. And we even have a treaty with this committee. And that's why we don't have disclosure, because under the treaty, they're allowed to do abductions and to learn. And the whole intent is to try to help the human race evolve and to advance. But on that large spaceship, and this is going to be the one that you're going to find a little hard to believe, he told me that on that large spaceship, there are over 250 types of beings on that ship.
Fabulous. Yeah, that's great, you guys. It's great to hear. I mean, it tells you about the diversity. We have diversity on our planet between all the different species we have. There's got to be diversity out there in all the different galaxies, solar systems.
Well, they're all around us. Without the aliens, we wouldn't be here.
Now,
apparently.
I was going to ask you, does Mew talk about the aliens walking amongst us here?
Oh, yeah, sure. The Palladians, you cannot tell from humans. Quite a few of us have got alien DNA. And the entire human race has been seeded by aliens. Mu told us that beings from other planets have visited our planet since the time of the dinosaurs.
That's great.
And that's, 60-some million years ago that they were here.
Would these be the great builder races that we hear about all the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
They kept trying to get a race. Apparently, one of the initial seedings on Earth took place in the oceans, because if you're familiar with the history of Earth, there was a time that the planet was almost totally covered with
mostly water, right?
Yeah.
And we're still free-force water.
They actually tried to seed the planet, and that is why you have the dolphins and the whales and things that are mammals.
Does he confirm they came from Sirius? Did he say where the dolphins and mammals and the whales came from? No,
I never asked that.
Okay.
There have been so many. When they come here, there's so many different types represented. So no, that's not something we addressed. But we addressed a lot of other stuff with him.
Oh, I know. It's amazing the stuff that this book covers. Would you say that the dolphins, the whales, those mammals, the great mammals of the sea, do they know where they came from? Would you say they have that understanding they came from the stars too?
No, I don't think so, because they decided that they were not going to be able to advance rapidly enough, and that's why they refer to it as seedings.
Oh,
as EDINGS. Okay. And he refers to at least 3 or 4 different seedings in attempts to make the human race evolve.
What does the Mew say about the missing link? What does he say about that? Where did we really evolve from Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal?
Nope.
Okay.
He does not. He tells us that there is indeed a missing thing there. Oh. That was one of the seedings. They attempted to advance, but then there's a gap, and then they stepped in and created a more advanced human race. And that's what your missing link is.
I see. So then we step in, and that's us. We are the more evolved race that they finally created?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I'm curious about this now. Where does Sasquatch fit into all of this?
Sasquatch is real. Mm-hmm. It is a type of an ape. It has a lower mentality than the humans. It was on its own evolution path. But the reason we never see their bodies is because they're multidimensional.
You know, I don't know if I told you this, Barry. We've been communicating with Sasquatch consciousness through the board. I share this with the viewers here. And we've learned the same thing. They're interdimensional, and they go back and forth, in and out. And a lot of people think they're connected to the aliens. And what they told us, and see if this rings true for you or doesn't, Sasquatch told us that they're wondering why they always see lights in the sky when they see humans. They think the humans are connected to the aliens, the extraterrestrials, and we think it's them. But they're saying that's not us at all. They say we know that your extraterrestrials know how to twist time and space, and often we can get stuck in that. But we know how to find our way back where humans don't if they get stuck into it. What do you know about that?
Well, they're afraid of humans. So when they say a human, they just pop through that door, that dimension. And in that is a dimension where there are aliens. So I'm sure when they're in that secondary dimension that they are also seeing beings that are in the dimension that we cannot see.
Yeah, that corroborates what we're getting too by talking to Sasquatch. Wow, this is some fascinating stuff.
I didn't realize you were doing that.
Yeah, so we've got it. By the way, you guys, Barry and I always talked about we would get together again in the future. We've known each other for 2 years, and we will one of these times. Either I'm going to Salt Lake City or I'm going to the East Coast, and we're going to do the board again. And if you guys come to California, you know. Yeah.
But no, that's really pretty amazing that we're getting exactly the same information on Sasquatch.
I know, and I don't know if I told you too, I've also been communicating with aliens at different times, but not to the degree that Barry's doing. He actually has a friend who is deceased extraterrestrial. So to me that's really cool. I'm speaking to extraterrestrials that are still living, that are alive. But it's amazing. I want everybody to understand, as we're having this conversation today with Barry, it's really amazing what you can do with these channeling tools. Now, truly, it's not the tool, it's you. It gives you your permission to step into these dimensions and communicate with them. But Barry and I just really dig the channeling spirit board, talking board, Ouija board, as you guys know. So this is fascinating.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like it. All you got to do is mention a channeling board on Facebook, and everybody has a crap hemorrhage about it and how evil it is. But we have done this thing probably for close to 500 hours now. When the first time that we ever channeled, the guides came through and they said, never ever ask for evil, never mention it.
Good point.
Never look for it. And always protect yourself with your prayer, and your faith in God will be your protection. And we've just had amazing experiences with this thing.
See, I want everybody to really listen to what Barry's saying. I mean, he has a lot of experience doing this. He's written a lot of books about it, and I know him in person. He's a very solid person, and so is his wife. They're just the down-to-earth people, real, true people. And it's important to hear what he's saying about using this tool. There's no reason to have any fear about it. Barry, on this channel, we really try to talk about the mistruths and the lies and stories and fabrications and folklore, mythology about the board that just doesn't have to be. And so as you're hearing Barry talk about his story today, we was talking to Mew, his extraterrestrial friend, as well as the other spirits, you're going to hear some really incredible stuff. Because why is that? Because he's not afraid. There's no fear, right, Barry?
No, we enter it with no fear. I mean, we always start off with our prayer of protection, and we just simply know that the guides are going to protect us. And that
yep. You've got to have that assumption. You've got to know that, and then it's going to be that way. So let's talk a little bit more about, you have a chapter that addresses the universality of God.
Yes.
I think it's that's a powerful chapter, so let's talk about that a little bit. What do you want to say?
Yeah, and that was one, Moose spent more time giving us information about this because he felt this was probably the most important chapter in the book. Because on Moo's planet, they worship the exact same God that we do.
Interesting.
And what Moo told us was that on his planet, God sent his son to his people the same as Jesus was sent to us.
Ooh.
On his planet, they referred to him as the wise one. And actually, he's also told us that there have been multiple sons of God sent here besides Jesus, but that's another story.
Well, like the Buddha, would you say that's one of them?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's every single culture, Barry. You know this. Every single culture, and Mew's telling us, and I'm hearing it as well. Every culture has had some type of wonderful being that it was from the stars who could come down and help show us the way.
Yes. Well, we have master guides. I mean, the masters returned to help too. Gandhi was a returned master,
Yeah, yeah.
for instance. So, I mean, the masters return, and they're the great teachers that we see. Mother Teresa was a returned master. And actually, Mother Teresa is one of Connie's guides.
Oh,
And
that's lovely.
occasionally she will give messages to Connie. So we have some really amazing crap go on here with that board.
Well, you have to, we call it pushing the boundaries of consciousness and really exploring and discovering. And Barry, this is what we're doing on this channel with these shows. This is why I wanted you as a guest on here, because you are out there being a leader with this movement of consciousness and the board, and saying, look, it's my cosmic phone. I'm going to dial up these frequencies. I'm going to communicate with them. There's no fear. And you're right, in these incredibly interesting, wonderful books that really help put perspective on who we are, where we came from, and where we're going.
Well, it's interesting. The guides have told us that writing these books is my karma. And amazingly, I have no writing abilities. When I was in college, high school, I avoided every writing course. I did terribly. That's what brought my average down, was writing courses.
Isn't that funny? And now you're being punished to have to write. Just kidding. He's not being punished.
But you have writing guides. I have a guide named Sterling that helps me write. And the first time that I ever met Moo, his message was, call me for an hour before you want to write. I will actually enter your head and I will help you. And if I do not like what you're writing, I will give you blurry vision or an itchy nose.
My goodness.
And guess what? He can do it. He can absolutely do it.
Did you call him in for this last book? Did he help you? Does Sterling help you write each of the books?
Yeah, I get a lot of help because I obviously need a lot of help.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I've read his books. No, he's a very good writer, you guys. But it's interesting because what I found, Barry, using this tool, it's really opened me up to other abilities, latent abilities within myself, such as my sixth sense, and it's helped me develop in other ways too. Have you noticed that?
Oh, unbelievably! I'm starting to hear the messages before they spell them now.
Yeah, that's incredible. Do you actually hear Mew speaking in your head?
Moo can get in my head. I don't hear different voices. It's always like this mental message that I get. And I really can't define it like this booming voice you hear.
Okay.
I mean, I have heard booming voices, but when I'm channeling, it's just like these words are coming into my mind now before they're actually being spelled out. Okay. And I now do have the ability to see. I can often see spirits when they're around me now.
Yeah, see, so that's developed for Barry too. Remember, you guys, he was a non-believer. He didn't believe in any of this stuff. And so it's interesting how our worlds open up when we just open ourselves up too. And
it's all mental. I work at it, obviously, now that I know that all this stuff is taking place around me.
Well, you're channeling all the time now too, so it just spirals. You get more and more information. It just makes you widen and open up that much more. And it's not a scary thing, again, guys. It's something that's been very positive for Barry and his wife, Connie.
Oh, it's incredible. I'll tell you what we're really enjoying now is channeling with animals.
Me too.
Yeah, we had our cats reincarnate for us, and we talked to them for 2 years before they came back.
That's Bodie, right? Your little black cat?
Yep, that's Bodie. He told us that he would return to us in 13 months as a black kitten, and this little black kitten shows up within 1 week of when he said he was going to come to us.
And you didn't go pick him out. He came to your place.
Oh, it was worse than that. I mean, he was born in Baltimore, and the story of how this is incredible in its own. We're working with another psychic here because when we channel, I like to have 3 of us so one can take the notes. Mm-hmm. Because now the letters are coming so fast, we can't keep up with it. So we're working with this woman, with Donna, very nice lady, very psychic, great abilities, and does really, really well on the board with us. She was down her father's buried in a cemetery in Baltimore. So she goes down and she's working on her father's grave, goes over to the caretakers, and the caretakers say, "We have some kittens here. Would you like to have a kitten?" She says, "No, I don't want a kitten," but now she knew nothing of the Bodhi story. She says, "But, I'll look at him." And she goes over and she looks, and this little black kitten comes out, looks her right in the eye, and goes back under the porch. Donna says, "Man, well, they're cute." A week later, we're up here channeling, and I asked my guide, I said, "Is Bodhi back yet?" And he says, "Is this Bodhi you're speaking of, the black kitten?" And Donna goes, "Oh my God, I saw Bodhi down in Baltimore." And we go down, and it's Bodhi, But that's how he found us.
That's great.
Donna.
You guys, time and space never separates us. Isn't that what you're finding out? Time and space doesn't separate us.
Oh, no, not at all.
And when you die, you're not separated from it either. You just continue on, as you're doing right now with Mew, talking to Mew or talking to your cat who reincarnated. It's a continual process. Your spirit, your soul never ceases to exist. It just changes form.
That's right. And amazingly, Bodhi wouldn't come back up without one of his brothers because he didn't want to be by himself. So we bring the second little cat up. Then we find out that the second cat is the reincarnation of my daughter's dog that passed 15 years earlier. Wow. This little cat was named Ginger. It was a female dog. And now they came back together because they're members of our animal soul family.
Yeah, and it's an orange cat, right?
Yes.
I've seen pictures of. You can see pictures of his cat on his website. You'll want to go check this out. And the story's there. He wrote the story, and you can read more about it. Now, I want to get back to Mew, our alien friend, and he talks about reincarnation. Do you want to go through that a little bit more? How that works through the galaxy and with Earth and
reincarnation is universal. You have to spend lifetimes on other planets for your soul to advance. You can only learn so much as a human. There are incredible emotions and languages, and there's so much that a human cannot learn from by just being in these lifetimes. So when you go over on the other side, you will have the option whether you want to come back here or whether you want to try somewhere else, or your soul energy can actually travel the galaxy. There's no limit to distance or time when you're on the other side. It's reincarnation is the same for all. And as Mu said, if you have lived, you have reincarnated.
I agree. I 100% agree with you too. We've had probably thousands of lives at this point. How old the universe is, and by the way, what does Mu say about the age of like, let's say, our galaxy or even the universe? You talk about that in the start of it.
Yeah, we have a chapter on the creation of the universe in this new book. And I asked him, I said, "Well, is the Big Bang Theory, is that correct?" And he said, "Partially." And I said, "Well, what's the rest of it?" And his answer was, "You're incapable of understanding."
I've asked the same question too, and they said, even if we told you you don't have the mentality, the capability as a human being, yes. See, you guys, Barry, we got to get together and do some channeling. I'm telling you.
It's amazing. We're doing the same thing. And we're only 3,000 miles apart.
Hey, that's nothing. Listen, I love what you're hearing about this universality of all of us, how all souls have a certain kind of trajectory to follow in life. What does he tell you the purpose of this all is?
The purpose of it is your soul is to advance on the other side. There's different realms, and your soul needs to advance in these realms. And what he says is that the overall purpose of your soul is to become more like God. And that as your soul progresses, you can advance over there and go into the higher realms. And he's even said that it's possible after millions of lifetimes, you might even try your hand at being a god in another galaxy sometime.
Or guide? A guide or God?
I'm sorry?
Did you say a guide or God or both?
No, I said a god.
Oh.
Apparently, each galaxy has its own god.
So there's not one universal source being?
No.
Ah.
No. There is one God in charge of all.
There is.
The other
okay.
gods. So I guess that would be your one universal source being that you're thinking about.
Okay.
But there's more than one God.
So is it like a pantheon of gods, like the Roman or Greek culture had, and so they weren't that far off then?
No, no. There's a pecking order even among the gods. It's the same as there's a pecking order among the master guides, among the standard guides, guides apprentice, and then there's all the other souls over there.
Amazing. Just amazing. The whole idea of different universes having different sub-gods. Sub-gods, right?
Yes, yes. Well, we've had guides come in and tell us that they're an apprentice.
I've had that too.
To a master.
Now, listen, the only reason why I'm laughing is because I'm tickled to death that Barry Strohm is out there doing this work. And let me tell you guys, it's fun for me. It's interesting. It's entertaining to always have an opportunity to talk to others who are working this tool and are pushing it as far as they can go and then some. And so that's why I'm just tickled. I'm just so thrilled to have Barry here. And I know you guys are too, to hear these stories. Barry, what do you think would be just a real cool thing to tell this audience, that's coming out of your book soon, that when they read it, they're going to go, whoa. But what's something you can tell us now that, maybe nobody else knows?
Well, I'll lay one on you. One night, Moo did a session, and he had some friends of his from other galaxies along.
Oh, whoa.
Yes. And I said, they were giving me information. And I said, Moo, when they were in, I said, what do they look like? And his smart-ass answer was, well, they all look alike now. They're in spirit.
Oh, because these are all the deceased souls.
They're all deceased souls.
Oh, my gosh.
But then I said to him, Moo, would you tell me what they looked like on other galaxies when they were in body? Mm-hmm. So he gives me this description of what one of them looks like. He says that this one particular being had 4 legs with hands, and the hands had 3 fingers and 2 thumbs. So instead of feet, they got hands on the ends of they're all hands, so to speak.
Interesting. Now, where's this creature from? I probably shouldn't call it a creature.
Galaxy. He didn't tie it down, but just another galaxy.
No,
then he says that it had the being. Now you can imagine this. It has 4 legs with hands.
Yeah.
They have round heads with 1 eye and a small mouth.
1 eye,
and
wow.
Then he said they have very small brains because they use most of it.
Not like us using 7% of our brain. They're using 100%.
That's correct. They've learned to use their entire brain, so they only need a smaller brain.
Absolutely fascinating.
So there are things out there that you have never conceived of, and it's exciting.
I can only imagine. Oh my gosh. So, what else does he tell you about living extraterrestrials? Because obviously he's running around with a group of souls, spirits, deceased. But what about the living ones? Did he tell you more information about them?
Yeah. The living ones are here to help us. You'll be absolutely amazed at all the contributions that they have given us. They've actually saved humanity. Apparently, when they told us not to test the H-bomb, and when we did, they had to get involved because it was going to be a continuous explosion, and they basically saved us. I mean, they're out there helping us every day.
Is there any malevolent ones, such as people always talk about the lizards, the lizzies being benevolent, the insectoids? Are these guys bad? No,
they're all controlled by the treaty. And he said that even you have to get permission to visit the younger civilizations like Earth. He said that the visits are very carefully monitored, and that they actually have to wear a device that if they are thinking about breaking the rules, will send a message back, and they'll be pulled back because they're here to protect us and to help us advance.
But what do you say about the alien abductions people experience, and they're very frightened of them, and they weren't, they were scary experiences to people. What do you say about that?
Well, they're scary experiences because you don't understand them. They refer to them as learning sessions.
For who? Us or them?
For us and them.
Oh.
Because they say that if you have a physical problem, they'll often fix the problem while they have you. They will put messages, they will implant messages. Sometimes they actually use solid implants so they can track. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea of an abduction is that they can learn, because they're saying humans are trying to figure out so many ways that they can kill each other and themselves.
Yeah.
That they're trying to keep track of it.
We're pretty violent.
But he said that we're not as violent as some of the other younger cultures.
There's even cultures younger than us, groups of beings that are younger than us right now.
Oh, yeah, there's early seedings going on out there all the time. Planets are created and destroyed. And as the planets grow and mature, the aliens are out there attempting to put life on them.
So that brings me the question of, what about the longevity of Earth? People are talking about Earth might be moving into a new Earth, and there's the different dimensional changes. Does he ever talk about the destruction of Earth? Because I know supposedly Earth came from Maldek at one time. Does he talk about any of this?
What he talks about, I mean, we've been here for 3.5 billion years. There will be a time that our sun will destroy itself.
Okay.
And when that happens, the planets will die. That is the way, he says, that is the way of things. You live, you die. All things live and die.
There's a season, right? Seasons and the cycles.
Correct. That's correct. And what he says is that the beings from other planets are attempting to help us evolve to the point that we can travel the stars, so that when the time comes, we can leave this planet and live on and find a home somewhere else. And that is how you will save the human race, because there will be a time that life will be extinguished here on Earth.
So people have nothing to worry about. In that sense, people will be already incarnating elsewhere.
That's correct. And he also said that in the case of the Greys, their home planet has been destroyed. And they have another planet that they call home.
What solar system? Did he talk about that, where those Greys are located? Because here's my little Grey.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Yes. Well, some of us have seen real aliens.
Oh, I'm one of those people. Yes.
That's all.
When I was a child, yes. So I absolutely believe in all this.
Oh, I have a very interesting story. Mine just happened about a year ago.
Did you see a ship or an alien, or both?
Oh, an alien.
Oh, would you please share?
Yes, we were over in our apartment.
So you guys, this is getting really juicy. Keep going, Barry.
Yeah, this is a kind of cool story. So something wakes me up. I sit up in bed. We always have night lights on. And I look over, and here's an alien standing next to Connie. Now, bear in mind, Connie's been abducted a couple times.
I remember hearing this, yes.
Yeah, she's been taken. So I look over, and here's this alien standing there, and it's a gray reptilian. Oh. And I shake my head because I know I'm dreaming this. I clear my head, and I look at him, and he's still there. And he looks over at me, and believe it or not, he smiles and then knocks me out. And that's the end of it.
When you say knocks you out, he didn't hit you.
Bang, out I go, back to sleep.
You fell asleep. So what was that feeling? What was it that you received, or that feeling you had from that?
I felt no fear. I mean, I'm going, holy shit, there's an alien.
You better have no fear. You're talking to him.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm thinking, man, I had to dream this. So when we wake up, I said, Connie, I think I saw an alien. And she goes, here we go again, another story. You're enough of this wild shit. So 2 nights later, we got our friends in Salt Lake City, and we're on Skype. They have the board. Now, I never mentioned to anybody, including Connie, that it smiles at me, okay?
Okay.
The board is in Salt Lake City. Kay and Doc got the board out there. I'm on Skype. She and I are here in Pennsylvania. I ask for Moo's presence. He comes into him out there and signs in. And I said, Moo, did I see an alien last night? Now, bearing in mind the people out there had no idea. Moo comes in and says, yes, and did you see him smile at you? And
wonderful.
I went, holy shit, I really did see it,
If that's not confirmation, I don't know what is. That's wonderful.
Yeah, but nobody knew that he had smiled. And Moo confirmed it 2,000 miles away for me.
Amazing. You see, this is what happens, you guys. This is what happens when you start doing this work. Not to scare you, but it's what you want to open up to. And for Barry and Connie, it's not a horrible experience. It's something that's very beautiful, and they actually get to meet these other dimensional beings. Yeah, and I'm the same way. I have all kinds of experiences like this because I am so open, and I work with all these different energies too. So, Barry, one of the things we do on this show is it's about really trying to help people empower themselves. And if you could say from all the lessons from Mew that he's provided you, and especially for this new book, what would you say is his overall message that you could offer to our audience here that helps them feel more empowered in their life?
Well, the overall answer is that they're here to help us, and we have nothing to fear from them.
Nothing to fear.
If they wanted to hurt us with their technology, we'd be gone.
Blip.
I mean, we'd be vaporized.
Right.
The only reason that we're here is because they want to help us, and they want us to advance, and they want us to play nice. They want us to cut out all this fighting crap, because all the advanced cultures in the galaxy get along. I mean, that's what the committee does. They're very well organized. The advanced cultures don't fight among themselves. And actually, he said many of the ships don't even carry weapons. They don't need them.
So once we learn to get along within amongst ourselves, do you think that's when we will be able to be more involved, meaning people like us down here be more involved with this whole federation that's cosmic, that's global, that's international, that's everywhere around the universe?
Yeah, Moo made an interesting comment one time. He said, from war, you will learn compromise. And from compromise, you will learn to play nice.
Interesting.
Yes. So, war, unfortunately, will serve a purpose. It'll force us to get along with one another, or they'll be out there seeding another bunch of humans to try it again.
Right, or we'll destroy ourselves. So speaking of war, after World War II, Antarctica really became an interesting place. Could you tell us a little bit about Antarctica? I know you wrote about that in your book.
Antarctica has been a hot spot for alien activities for an awful long time. The Nazis had a base down there. The aliens also had a base down there, and the aliens apparently made them dismantle their base because they were interfering with their activities. There is very strong activity, and Google Earth is an amazing thing.
It really is.
In this new book that I have coming out, I actually have a photograph with the coordinates taken from Google Earth that shows the entrance to a base down there in Antarctica.
Ooh, that's really cool, Barry. Oh my gosh.
Yes, so I have included the coordinates that you'll actually be able, from the book, you'll be able to go in, pull it up, and look at the photograph of it yourself. They've also discovered pyramids down in Antarctica, and the more you study that planet, the more amazing it is. I ran into a couple maps that were drawn in the 16th century by two different individuals, and both of those maps show the surface of Antarctica without ice.
Yeah, that's
and
interesting.
there is no way. I mean, it's like 10,000 years by the time when those maps were drawn that there was ice down there and covering it. So it's the mystery of how those maps got drawn is really cool. They're just
how they knew to draw them from 1600s, and how they would have that information to know that was like that, right? That's the point. Nobody could know. They had to have some kind of intervention, maybe, right? You're thinking that?
That's right.
Yeah. Interesting. This, you guys, isn't this crazy? Isn't this crazy cool? It's so fascinating what Barry is doing here with his work with Mew, and of course with all the other spirit guides he talks to too. But it's so incredible with Mew. I can't wait to see this book. Barry, when do you expect this book to come out?
Well, we're just taking it to the publisher, so it takes about 9 months to a year till they get everything designed and put together.
So 2018, it's gonna be released.
I think beginning of 2018, we'll probably see it come out.
When do you do advanced sales on it, or will you be doing advanced sales?
They usually do advanced sales about 2 months before we get our hands on it.
So what's the best way for someone who's watching this to be able to get a hold of your book? Should they go to your website? Should they sign up for your newsletter? What do you recommend?
Well, and all my books are available in either Barnes and Noble or in Amazon.
Okay.
The best, my current alien book is a very, very good foundation for the next one that's coming
Yes.
out. Because what we did is we just built on the information. The first alien book, which was Aliens Among Us, Exploring Past and Present, we would do things like we would go into the Nazca lines and we would just move what they stood for. For instance, there's a big spider that's in the Nazca lines.
Oh, I love that. I love the spider and the hummingbird. They're so beautiful.
You know what the spider was?
Well, to me, the spider represents Mother Earth and the cosmic relations. What is it?
The spider is the image of the aliens that were there assisting them.
Well,
They were
that's
spider people.
interesting. The native culture in the Southwest talks about Spider Woman and how she seeded the earth, and that was where I got the story of she's like the creatrix and she's the mother. So you're saying there were actual beings like the
There were
ant beings.
actual alien beings that are spider people. They stood 6 foot tall.
Oh, love it.
So you would have seen a 6 foot tall spider.
Arachnophobia here at its finest. This is like those movies we see, the giant spiders eating people. What do they do? How do they interact with people? Were they scary?
No, they weren't afraid of them. And that's a big point that Moo said that makes today everybody's afraid of the thought of aliens. In those days, everybody accepted them. They were gods. They were spirits there to help. But today, everybody's just, crapped out because there's other life out there, and many there's no way they believe it. I mean, I've even problems with my own family think I'm nuts, and they may be right, but in certain aspects. But
he's a good kind of nuts. Listen, you're with me, and I'm a nut, and everybody here listening loves this information too. So I guess we're all in the nut farm together.
really.
Barry, this is just fascinating. I so love having you on the show. Any final thing would you like to share with the audience today?
Well, my current book's pretty cool. It's called Spirits Speak of Conspiracies and Mysteries.
It's very good, you guys.
And what I did is I channeled the spirits that lived the conspiracies. So Jack Kennedy told me exactly what happened, told me who shot him. General Patton, incredible things happened to him that nobody knows of that he told me about. We have Billy the Kid, Sundance Kid.
Yeah, you have good outlaws in that book,
Yeah,
I remember.
We addressed 26 different mysteries, including what happened to the Malaysian flight. We talk about HARP and the weather conspiracies. And this is all from information that the guides have given us.
Again, you guys, he's been channeling.
Very and if you're interested in aliens, my book Aliens Among Us, Exploring Past and Present, has a lot of information you've never heard before because it's all channeled. And when we do a channeling session, we video every minute of it. And every word that you see in my books, I have a video file where we got them off the board. So there's no doubt where the information came from.
It's all verbatim, in other words. It's exactly
Correct.
what you received and what was said.
Taken off exact transcripts.
That's wonderful. So you guys, here's a gentleman, another person who also channels, and he's getting some incredible information, writing some beautiful books, bringing forth information that's going to help humanity, help us understand who we are in relationship to where we've been. It's just, I'm just thrilled to have you on. Barry, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's just been so enlightening and fascinating.
Hey, it's always an honor. And anytime we're here, and we're going to get together and we're going to do some serious channeling.
Oh, serious channeling. Well, there you have it, you guys. This is a person who is doing this work. Now, do you think now it is possible, it is doable, that it has been done, as Barry just shared with us, to actually communicate with an extraterrestrial soul? Well, thank you all for joining us here today. This is Creative Visions TV, and I'm your host, Karen Dahlman. Now, there's a great, expansive, unseen world out there, and get ready to explore it. I'll see you soon. Thank you.